welcome to the 21st video with me and my pussy. She hates it. But she loves me. Oh. This is the first video that I'm not doing live. I'm going to have to update some of my descriptions, but hopefully this works out. And like I said last week, just because my videos aren't live anymore doesn't mean I'm not open to having discussions, answering questions, and responding to comments. But I figured I should try to get familiar with video editing and making videos and feel like I'm in 8th grade technology class again. But anyway, I hope that it looks good. And keep in mind, I'm learning it all for the first time again, so bear with me. But I'm also testing out sitting. You can't see it, but I'm sitting on a stool. Besides sitting, I'm thinking about doing a lot more videos on kink topics. So if there's a kink that you've always wanted to learn more about, let me know, because luckily I have the ability to do some real life field research into some kinks, especially because I live close to some big cities like San Francisco, and I can make the trip over there and check some stuff out. And there's a lot of stuff over there. I'm really excited. September is the Folsom Street Fair in San Francisco, and there's lots of cool stuff to do down there that's kink related, so I would love to have a reason to do some research. So let me know if there's anything that you want to learn about. And if you want to stay up to date with my videos, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitter at @PositivePuss. And I also post links to resources on my website after every video, and you can see those at positivepussy.live. So today I'm talking about sex and hormones. What? Fun science stuff. So what are hormones? Hormones are chemicals. They play a role in every aspect of human behavior. The endocrine system in the body is what regulates the production of hormones. And then these hormones interact with all of your other systems. They send chemical messages to them, like your circulatory system, your digestive system, and your reproductive system. Hormones cause these systems to behave in so many different ways. You've probably heard of cortisol before. If you're a stressed out person, then you've definitely heard of it. Cortisol is known for being the stress hormone. The more cortisol you have in your system, the more stressed out you feel. Too much cortisol in the system can cause issues like high blood pressure. You've probably also heard of melatonin. That's the sleepy hormone. It makes you sleepy. You've probably also heard of estrogen and testosterone, because those are the main sex hormones. I want to talk about estrogen first, because ladies first. Estrogen is the main female sex hormone, and it's not technically a hormone. What? Actually, it is, but it isn't. So estrogen basically describes 3 chemically similar hormones: estrone, estradiol, and estriol. Estrogen hormones are produced by fat cells, adrenal glands, and most importantly, it's made by the ovaries. These hormones are in charge of sending messages to your body like grow boobs and grow hair down there and bleed out your pussy or stop bleeding out your pussy. Estrogen also keeps your pussy moist and your uterus lined with blood and tissue. Unless you're on a hormonal birth control like mine that uses progesterone. But more about that later. Estrogen hormones help your body do the right things, like produce moisture, and during pregnancy produce milk and grow a fucking baby inside your body. Estrogen also plays a role in so many unsexual things like skin darkening and bone formation, and it has a huge influence on your brain, aka your mood, which is why having your period can sometimes change your mood. I adjusted the camera a little bit. I don't know if you can tell, but I did. Your brain just happens to be the largest sexual organ, which means that hormones also affect arousal. Who here gets a random surge of horniness on their period? I do. Who here thinks period sex is awesome? I also do. Well, the reason it's awesome is because your hormones are affecting your brain and making you more horny. And you probably also have an awesome partner who understands that period blood is no big deal. Men also produce estrogen from their ovaries. I'm not kidding. Estrogen in males is in a much lower level and is secreted by adrenal glands, fat cells, and the testes, which is the analogous, I think that's the right term, analogous body part to the ovaries. Apparently, more estrogen is found to cause less sperm count. That's right. Who knew? When it comes to arousal, though, low testosterone levels and more estradiol causes erectile issues and lowered libido. But here's something weird about the role estrogen plays in males' arousal. If testosterone levels are low and libido is low, adding more estrogen can sometimes help improve libido. This is thought to be because testosterone and estrogen are both converted into the same simpler chemical in the brain, which affects arousal in males, which is crazy. Testosterone is the male sex hormone. It's also very well known as the hormone that makes people horny, because even in females, low testosterone levels causes lower libido. But testosterone is not nearly as important to women's arousal as estrogen, which is needed to make that pussy wet, among other things. Progesterone is another sex hormone that women have in their bodies, and it also plays a part in getting in the mood, but actually plays the part of the cock block, because apparently progesterone stops the sex arousal system in women and decreases libido. And hormones change throughout our lives, which is why sexual arousal changes throughout our lives. For women, we go through puberty, we experience our first rise and drop in estrogen levels, menstrual cycles, boobs and blood, and possibly PMS. And if a woman later chooses to go on birth control, these may also change the hormones in her body and her system for as long as she is on the contraception and or the contraceptive. If a woman gets pregnant, her hormones are fluctuating again to make a baby and to have a baby. And then when a woman goes through menopause, which starts when you don't have your period for a year, but obviously it's going to start a little bit before that, but you know, rough start point is if you haven't had a period for a year, that's menopause, and estrogen levels decline, and supposedly libido is decreasing, but actually a lot of women report feeling sexually free after going through menopause because they are finally released from the fear of pregnancy. In men, testosterone is its highest when puberty starts, and then it starts declining around a man's 30s, and especially after 45, it decreases like 1% a year about. If you happen to be a transgendered individual and you decide to go through hormone therapy, then your hormones are going to be changing very significantly throughout your life, especially if you started after puberty. I am a cisgendered woman, so I don't have hormone therapy experience. However, I have found the dangers of playing with your hormones, and I'm not trying to compare taking birth control to hormone therapy, of course. However, finding out that hormones have side effects that you like and some that you don't like creates a love-hate relationship with your body. So what I'm saying is I can only imagine how much worse it would be to have to change your hormones completely in your body, and how the reactions might not be exactly what you wanted, and there's drawbacks and negative, there's drawbacks and there's benefits to it as well. So it's just like, you know, crazy love-hate relationship with your body that, I mean, yeah. And since I am myself, I can only really share my struggle and experience with hormones. So that's what I'm going to do. To preface this little side video I'm going to put in here with my video editing skills, I wanted to say that next week I'm going to do a video on periods and birth control, Probably mostly about birth control, and then maybe a little bit about periods, just because birth control and periods are very closely tied. But this week I wanted to talk about my current birth control method, which is the implant. You can't see it at all. It's right here. It's about this big, and it just fits pretty snugly in my... I'm trying to flex. 2 tickets to the gun show. It's not the most common birth control. I feel like people are still really surprised when I tell them, oh yeah, I have the implant. However, I have met a few people who have had it or have it, and I actually wanted to get it because it worked really well for a friend of mine. And it worked really well for me at the start because it was super simple. It's basically just a tube in my arm. It slowly releases a progesterone hormone called estanogestrel, I think. And this suppresses the I love having to pronounce words. This suppresses the pituitary gland, and that stops the ovaries from releasing an egg. And it also changes the cervical mucus, and it makes it thicker. Then that kind of helps prevent the sperm from reaching the egg. Can't swim through all that thick gunk. And I'm here to tell you today that yes, the implant does work. I have not gotten pregnant. I haven't had a period in 2 years, which is super nice because I didn't like my period, because I would get really, really bad cramps. I felt like my body was attacking me through my uterus, and I would get really sad, really horny, and really angry. And before I got the implant, I had just discovered menstrual cups, which was making me like my period a little bit more, surprisingly, just because I guess like I was so hands-on with with the actual blood. It was kind of cool, like I had murdered something every time I went to the bathroom. But I had a really heavy flow as well, which is probably why my cramps were so bad. I don't know if that's related, but the menstrual cup was really helpful because I didn't have to buy tampons or pads, and I was just like not worried about leakage or anything, and it was really easy to use. It was a lifesaver. But then I had a friend who had the implant, and I was on the pill at the time, and that was working for me totally fine, and I was really good at taking it every day, so I don't know why I switched. I think the thought of no periods was like really enticing to me. Even though I did have the cup, I just was like, these cramps, like periods every month, my life is just so hard and awful. Like, it's just a period, calm down. But anyway, I had the implant, no periods, no babies, no worries, and it didn't really hurt to put in. The only thing is, it makes me a little squeamish sometimes because I'm like, I don't let anyone like push on this area too hard, or like I don't know, I just get nervous that it's gonna like get lost in there somehow, or break, snap in half inside of me. Like, that's the biggest worry that I have. But once I got it in, I had 1 period the next month, and then no period since then. And I also lost weight, which I thought losing the weight was due to me going off the pill, which I now disagree with, because I've had many weight fluctuations during these past 2 years, and so I don't think it had anything to do with the pill. And also, there was a time when I lost a ton of weight from like sophomore year to junior year, and I was on the pill the whole time, so whatever. But I didn't have a lowered sex drive on the implant, which is something that some women who take low progesterone birth control experience. And it seems that some women also experience better skin complexion. Well, that was also not the case for me, and it started off slow, but over the past 2 years, I have developed a case of some hormonal acne, and it was like I've never had before, not even when I was a teenager. So I pre-recorded a video before I put on makeup, and I honestly don't even look that much better now. You can still definitely see it and everything. It's just faded slightly. So yeah, I'm doing a short video insert that is me with no face makeup on, and I don't cry, but I get emotional about it. Yeah, so you can see me in my not most vulnerable, but very vulnerable state in this little short clip. Hey, pussies. So, here I am, being vulnerable. I keep looking in the screen because it's a little nerve-wracking. I'm a little self-conscious about my skin. I think a little bit is an understatement, honestly. So, I started with the implant about 2 years ago, and I think about a month after I got it, I started noticing, I was like, I don't know if it's helping my skin. I think it's making it worse, because I was like a normal person. I had like some pimples every now and then, but I think it was making it worse. And I even mentioned to my friend who had it, I was like, I don't think my skin's reacting the same as your skin. And she was like, you're in like 3 months. I told her at 3 months, I was like, I don't think this is working on my skin. I think it's getting bad. Like, I'm breaking out a lot more. I haven't, had this bad of a breakout in a long time. And she was saying, you're only 3 months in, so you're going to have this implant for 3 years. Give yourself time to adjust. And I was like, okay, that makes sense, right? But over time, it just kept getting worse. And, I started trying to do something about it immediately. I was trying all these different things. I was just like different face soaps, different like treatments, different face masks, different diet, different pills. Oh my gosh. I still really like the hair, skin, and nails gummies because they're really good. But over time, it just started to get worse. And I was just like kind of at my wit's end. And I have health insurance because I'm an adult, even though it's on my mom's. I went to the doctor and I was telling her, I think I should get it out. And she said that that's totally doable, and that if I have been experiencing this for 2 years and, nothing's really been working, maybe I should get it out. So I'm actually getting it out on today's Tuesday that I'm recording this. I'm getting it out on Thursday, and I'm kind of nervous. So, I've already shown where it is, but it's right here. It's about this big. You can't even see, like, there's not really a scar at all. It's just like a little dot. And so I'm getting it out. I'm a little bit nervous because they're gonna have to like cut, I think, that whole line and take it out. And I'm worried that it's like moved around in a weird spot or something. But I'm excited to see if it helps, because I have been using this product called Curology, and some people have heard of it and used it and seen really good results. So I've been using it for almost 2 months now, and it actually really has made my skin feel like I don't really have any pimples right now. Like, this isn't as bad as it has been for the past 2 years. This has actually been so amazing at getting the pimples, and I just have all these scars now, and it's like now I'm finally seeing the damage that was done. And yeah, and I'm like a bad picker. Like, I like to pick at things like peeling skin and stuff like that, and so it was just, I'd get stressed out and I would pick at it, and then it would just get worse, and I would get even more stressed out by that, and it was just a vicious cycle. And I really liked this birth control because it was just like I didn't have to think about it. But what I did think about was, like, when I would go to the gym without makeup on, I would just constantly think about what people were thinking of my skin and my face. And, like, I would go out on, like, a date or go to a party or just go to the bars or something, and I would just constantly be thinking, like, okay, my makeup is fading, like, I didn't get to cover it that well, it doesn't look that good, you can still tell it's there, like, you can see that I'm just, like, trying to cover it up. And I feel like this past year was like the most self-conscious I've felt about my skin and like myself. And yeah, I'm really excited to see if it gets better, and I'm being really vulnerable right now, but it hasn't, like, I actually get really surprised now when people are attracted to me, because I'm just like, I don't understand how you can be attracted to me when like my skin is this bad. And the thing is that like when someone else has bad skin, I never like, I hardly ever notice it, and I don't take that into account when I look at them and see how attractive they are. But it's like when you look at yourself, it's just like it highlights on yourself, and it's just, yeah, it's really hard to be confident. And I get really self-conscious, especially when I'm with someone sexually, like for the first time, and I get really sweaty and like my makeup comes off and like we have to shower afterwards or something, like, and they get to see like this is my skin and it wasn't always like this, and I feel like very shy, and yeah, it's been hard to navigate that, like, because I'm still such a sexual person. I still want to experience life in that way, and so I don't know, it's been a journey. And I actually know I understand how grateful I am to only have had it for like these past 2 years, because I know people have been struggling with hormonal acne probably their whole lives, or have been living with it for a long time. And I would recommend Curology, and I would recommend talking to a doctor about it, because if it is hormonal, there are things that we can do, like if you're a female, like birth control can help. And I mean, if it doesn't, then there's other kinds of birth controls that might help, because clearly this one did not help me. But yeah, I'm going to keep you guys updated on, I guess, my skin now, but not really too much. You'll probably just see it in the video. You'll see my face. You can see my skin on my face. I usually am wearing makeup, but sometimes I'm like not really wearing that much, but the camera doesn't always pick it up, so I'm like, it kind of fades it a little bit, except for not right now, because I have this bright light on me. And yeah. Anyway, so I guess I'll update you guys, on the journey of hormones, and also like how going from the implant to the pill feels, and my experience with it and everything. So yeah, I'm excited to get it out. All right. Well, I'm back. No makeup me is here. So if you are someone who is experiencing some hormonal issues, it's important to know about hormones and like the kind of issues that they can cause, like acne. Vaginismus is a hormonal thing that could happen. If you have low testosterone, you could be experiencing lowered libido. It's important to know about hormones, because if you're experiencing something that could be a hormonal issue, or something that you've worked on, tried to change, and you've realized, like, I've done all these things and nothing's really working and I don't know what's going on. If it's something that could be hormonal, you might want to look into that, just because it's sometimes hard to tell when things are hormonal, and hormones can be unbalanced in some humans for different reasons, and some hormones affect people more than others, and it just interacts with your body chemistry in its own way. And it's not super different from person to person, but sometimes it really is. So it depends on who you are and like the body you have and the things that you eat and what you do. So if you're having some issues sexually, or with your genitals, or with your acne, or something that seems like reproductive, definitely think maybe hormones might be playing a part in that, or something that's going on. I don't know. I don't know, your issues. It's really hard to tell how a hormonal treatment is going to affect you before you use it, obviously. So if you want to learn more about hormones, definitely do your research and try things out. And then if it doesn't work, definitely bring it up with your healthcare provider and make sure, you get that stuff sorted out, because hormones, they do a lot of shit, man. They do so much shit. So there's 2 podcasts I actually really wanted to recommend people listen to because they were really good, and they are related to hormones. But I actually started listening to a new podcast that I really like called The Love Drive, and I think I like it because it's a guy host, and I never listen to men podcasts. I don't know why, but I really like his voice, and he has really interesting people on, and they're in Canada, in Montreal, so whenever they say out, they're always like oot, and it's so funny, and I love it. So anyway, on the Love Drive, the 2nd episode, there is a transgendered woman who talks about her perspective of the hormonal transition, and I absolutely love her perspective on it because it seems she had a really good experience, and there was some turmoil and drama in the whole. I'll let her tell the journey for you if you want to listen to the podcast, but I just think that she had such a positive outlook on it in the end, and I thought it was a really good story. And then also another one that seemed to have a lot of positivity in it that I also really liked was Guys We Fucked did an episode with Gina Bloom. And the episode was called, Who Do You Like to Fuck? I think it came out on June 22nd. And it was also a really amazing story about transitioning, and less about hormones, but obviously hormones were involved. They usually are when someone is transitioning. And it was really good, and I think that the story had a positive outlook on the whole transition as well. Even though there's always going to be hardships, there's just a story that seemed to have a better outcome than most, which is sad. But it's nice to focus on the good stuff, and that's what Positive Pussy wants to do. Focus on the good things. I will also be posting some other resources. So if you want to read more about hormones, you can fact check my facts and read some of the articles that I found interesting about sex hormones like estrogen and testosterone. Testosterone, is that? So yeah, hopefully I do a good job editing this. I don't know, man. And I hope you enjoy watching the edited version of Positive Pussy. Stay tuned because I have some really exciting things in store for all of you pussies, and I'm ready for this new implant-free life. I'm getting it out on Thursday, and I'm really excited. So I will see you pussies next week without this rod in my arm. And if you have some balanced hormones, consider yourself a lucky duck. Okay, that's it. I'm me out of here.